Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. I'm Cindy Baker, productivity coach, and I have some good tips for you today. So happy Monday. Hopefully these will, you'll find these helpful, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, whether you have ADHD or not. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who have ADHD. And I will tell you that many of them tell me they have trouble finishing things. Like they get started and they can't finish. So we're going to talk to, uh, I can't talk. We're going to talk about how to stay on task and finish things you start. So how many unfinished projects do you have going right now? I'm just curious if you're watching this live. Let me know in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from and how many unfinished projects you have going right now. I'm just curious. Make sure you do say hi, even if you don't want to, if you're too shy to post your number of unfinished projects, just say hi. Whatever platform you're watching on, let me know that you can see and hear me okay, and let us know where you're tuning in from. So, all right, looks like we got some people. Oh my, we got some people with a lot of unfinished projects. So, you're in good company. For those of us with ADHD, it is hard for us to keep a mental to-do list. You know, it's just hard for us. We forget stuff. And then we remember while we're in the middle doing something else. Do you know what I mean? And we jump to do the thing that we just thought of, and then we never go back to the original thing. And so our natural tendency for impulsiveness takes over, and it can be pretty stressful. And so we're just always kind of starting stuff and then switching to something else and then never finishing what we started. So I'm going to give you a few tips for how to stay on task. So get your pen and paper, get ready to write these down. And I will tell you, in case you have to jump off early, I'm going to do a free live training on Zoom this Thursday at noon. It's called the ADHD Advantage, how to thrive with ADHD. And even if you don't have ADHD, if you have some of those symptoms, this will be really helpful for you. So I will, if you don't see the link under this video to sign up, then you can email me at cindy@cindybakercoaching.com, and I'll make sure and get you signed up. You have to register to get the Zoom link. So back to our tips for staying on task. The first one is don't try to get organized when you're under pressure. A lot of times adults with ADHD, they only try organizational and time management strategies when they feel immense pressure, you know, at work or home or social situations. And it makes them feel like they've got this to make this big major change, like right then, you know. But trying to organize under pressure really doesn't work. I don't know if you've tried it. You know, the thought of, you know, if I mess this up is going to keep your brain from being creative. And you need some quiet, unpressured time to think about organizing. So don't try to do it when you're under intense pressure. The second is you need a to-do list. You know, I've heard some ADHD coaches say, don't have a to-do list. Write stuff down, folks. Don't try to hold it in your head. Write it on paper. Now, I do have a strategy where you take the things from your list and you put it on your calendar, time block and all that. I'm not talking about that, but I'm just talking about getting it out of your head, because it's hard to stay on task when you don't know what you're going to do. You know, this is where staying on task starts. You know, then it's about being intentional about how you spend your time. So you can't make choices about how to spend your time until you figure out what absolutely positively must get done. So start with a to-do list. and keep a master list. Keep one running list of everything that you need to accomplish. And you can have different lists for different segments of your life if you want. You might want to consider one for work and one for home. But then here's the key. Each day you should make a plan. I tell my clients to just take the top 3 things they need to accomplish and put them on the today list. So you'd make a to-do list and a today list. Now you can add more things if you finish those 3, but start with 3. So the master list is like a buffet table. You're not going to eat everything all at once. Each day you make a daily to-do list. So, and if you have a child with ADHD, especially school-age children, you can encourage them to follow a daily checklist and put an item on yours to check with your kids about their to-do list, because that really will help. Believe me, I'm a former teacher. Now you have to prioritize your tasks. So choose the most important and the most urgent tasks first, and then the second most important and most urgent. And again, I would say take your top 3 and put those down. And you got to learn the difference between important and urgent, because they're not the same. And not everything that's important is urgent, and not everything that's urgent is important. So important is something that carries you closer to your long-term goals. So if you're an entrepreneur, it would be revenue producing activities. And so urgent tasks are time sensitive. And sometimes you're going to need to work on important projects that are not urgent, but it's going to make you progress towards your dreams, towards your goals. And sometimes, because we love immediate gratification, that's hard to do. But you've got to prioritize what's important. And you have to know your limits. You can't do it all, and you definitely can't do it all in one day. And ADHD people are very prone to being like all or nothing thinking, black or white, So knowing when to say no and delegating tasks to other people, those are important ADHD time management strategies. Some things don't need to be done at all, and you may need to take them off your list. You need to make peace with the fact that you're not going to do it. It just keeps on getting carried over on your list. Take it off. Drop it from your list. You can always add it again in the future, but it's just taking up mental bandwidth. Pick one thing that you can accomplish without stress, like finishing all the dishes each day, and make sure you complete it daily instead of this thing that just keeps getting written down every week, every month. You make your list. Take it off the list because you're not going to do it. Just admit it. Instead, do something that gives you a quick win, something that gives you a sense of accomplishment, and do it every day. Now, another tip is to prevent procrastination. Now, I have a lot of training on this in my coaching program, but the number one barrier to success for people with ADHD is procrastination. And there are 2 reasons. Well, there's more than 2, but there are 2 big reasons that you put things off. Either disorganization, like you're not clear on what you need to do, or disinterest. You don't feel like doing it. That's just what it comes down to. So you can combat those 2 reasons by breaking tasks into small pieces. So that way you know where to start, and then find ways to make the task more interesting in the moment. I like to remind myself why the thing is important by using rewards and consequences. If you have shoulds on your list, replace them with wants. I want to do this because, and then write the reason. What's your why is another way to say that. That way you can get the motivation to get through the little boring things, right? Practice mindfulness. You have ADHD, so you're going to get distracted. And a lot of times we don't even notice that email and Facebook and Instagram or whatever else are taking up enormous amounts of time and energy. So be aware of what you're doing in the moment. And that's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is just being aware of what you're doing in the present moment and then trying to correct it if you're not on course. So jot down the time that you think each task should take. And then this is a little homework for you. Set a timer when you begin and see how accurate you were in estimating. If you're not pacing well, figure out if a distraction is keeping you from your goal and then shut down that distraction. But be mindful. Think about it. Don't just go on autopilot. And this goes without saying, but stop abandoning tasks. Like, do you leave tasks unfinished? When you notice yourself doing it, do something about it. Use like a drag and drop to-do solution like Google Calendar to help you reprioritize and move unfinished tasks. And then put a limit on the number of unfinished tasks that you leave open. There's many ways you could do this, but make a conscious effort to start and complete tasks. When you have too many, try working on tasks in 15-minute bursts and rotating through several until some are finished. So invest in good preparation, good prep work. You can speed up tasks that seem to take forever by planning ahead, being ready for them. Having done a little forethought, work on your organization, having the tools and the information that you need to start before you get started. If it's grocery shopping, make sure you have recipes planned and make sure you have a list of ingredients. And then set a time that you'll do it and block out distractions during that time. Another thing that I've seen people do that works is schedule backwards. To stop being late, you got to think backwards. So what that means is don't plan based on when you need to be there. Plan based on the time that you need to walk out the door. In other words, start backwards. Start at the very beginning. Start with your arrival time, then subtract the time that it takes to get from the car to the door, your travel time, the time to get in the car with everything you need, gathering all your stuff. Make sure you've gathered the items that you need well in advance so you're not doubling back to get things. And be aware that you don't have time to squeeze in one more thing before you leave. You know how we are. Oh, well, I just want to check this one thing. No, you don't. You don't want to check that one thing. That thing will make you late. So add buffer time to your estimates in case you hit every red light, in case, things go wrong, right? And if it takes you a while to start getting ready, build that extra time into your estimate. Don't fool yourself in thinking this is going to be the one time that I actually get ready fast. No, it isn't. You're still going to take a long time if that's what you usually do. So just admit it, build that time in and do it. Now, feed your brain is another tip. You cannot focus and get stuff done if your brain is fuzzy. If you can't focus if you're tired, if you're hungry, if you haven't moved your body all day. To improve your ADHD management, feed your brain, improve your sleep, eat well, exercise, be intentional with your time, avoid distractions, practice self-care. And then you're going to be on the road to task management success. Now, there's a lot more I could say about this. And if you're in Focus and Flow, my paid group, you're going to get a little more info on this. But again, I just want to remind you that I'm doing a free live training, just a little bit over an hour on Thursday, this Thursday, which is the 12th, Thursday the 12th. And it's at noon Central. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And You have to register to get the Zoom link, but I would love to see you there. We're going to talk about how to thrive with ADHD and how you can actually leverage the strengths of your ADHD to your advantage. So even if if you've never been diagnosed, it'll still be helpful. So I hope to see you there, and I look forward to hearing how you were able to use some of these tips, and I hope you have